Hello everyone, hi, welcome to the channel of Wall Street Mojo. Friends, today we are going to learn component of ratio analysis, which is days in inventory formula. Let's understand this. As you can see, the formula over here, days in inventory formula is 365 days divided by the inventory turnover. So this is the ratio. You're dividing 365 by the inventory turnover ratio. Let's understand this days in inventory formula. What exactly we are talking. See, days in inventory formula tells you about how many days it takes for a firm to wait for it convert its inventory into sales, right? Let's have a look at the formula for the days in inventory. The days in inventory is equal to 365 days divided by inventory turnover, right? So as you can see, we need to know the inventory turnover ratio before the days in inventory calculation. So the inventory turnover formula goes something like this, is equal to your COGS divided by ending inventory. You can take average also, that's fine. So now the cost of the goods sold can also be divided by the average inventory, okay, and that is the average of the beginning and the ending inventory to find out the inventory turnover ratio. Now let's take the days in the inventory turnover ratio example, a practical example, how so that we'll have a crystal clear idea about how the formula works. Now let's take a example, and let's say there's this guy called John. John wants to know the inventory days of the company, and he has gathered couple of details, like the beginning inventory of the year, for if he has collected as $40,000, and the ending inventory is let's say $60,000. The cost of the goods sold, the third, the COGS, is equal to, let's say, 3 lakh, what he has collected, and the year consists of 365 days. Okay, then find out the days of inventory for John. So for here, first we need to calculate the average inventory. Now we know that the beginning and the ending inventory of the year, so we'll use a simple average to find out the average inventory of the year. The average inventory is going to be your opening inventory plus closing divided by 2, right? So that's going to be 50,000. That's the $50,000, your average inventory. Now the inventory turnover ratio is going to be COGS, that is your cost of goods sold, divided by your average inventory, right? Will give you 6 times. So you can find out the days, the inventory days, as simple as that. Shouldn't be much of a hassle over here. Inventory days is equal to your 365 days, that is number of days in a year, into divide by the inventory turnover ratio. That will give you 60.833. So this is, remember one thing, this is times and this is days. Okay, so make sure what you are interpreting. So over here we are interpreting in terms of days. So this is 61 days approx. Now you have got the real idea about how the things have been calculated, the formula, the calculation. But what about the explanation part? You shouldn't be just learning the formula. You just shouldn't be calculating the numbers, but at the same time you should know how to interpret, right? So days in inventory formula is used to see how many days the firm takes to transform its inventory into finished goods, right? Since the major part of days in inventory formula includes inventory turnover ratio, right, ITR, right, we need to understand the inventory turnover ratio to comprehend the meaning of the inventory days formula. Now the inventory turnover ratio, the ITO, helps, or ITR helps us to understand the efficiency of the company to handle the inventory. It shows that how good the company is to reduce the overspending on the inventory, and also how well the company can convert the inventory into the finished stocks. Now for example, if a firm's inventory turnover ratio is, let's say, 10 times, it means that the firm turns the inventory into finished goods 10 times a year. Okay, and there comes the value of the inventory days formula. So if we consider there are, let's say, 365 days, okay, in a year, we can see that the days it takes for the firm to transform the inventory into finished goods or the finished stock. So all we need to do is to divide 365 divide by 10 times. That will give us 36.5 days in inventory to transform the inventory to the finished goods. So this is what the interpretation goes, right? Now let's understand what is the use, or we can consider what exactly is the importance. So we can derive the formula for days in inventory by including the number of days of the year with the inventory turnover ratio. If you ever wanted to know about the efficiency of the inventory management of the firm, you should look at both the inventory turnover and the inventory days. Okay, so by trying to find out the inventory days, you would be able to calculate both of the above ratio. Now by using the formula for days in inventory, you'll get to know that how much the firm takes to manage the, or to transform the things into inventory, into basically into inventory into finished goods. Now this is basically the calculator that you can actually apply in your case. There are 365 days, okay, which if you want you can change it to 360, but here we are not allowed to change. Let's say we are just taking 365 days. If your inventory turnover ratio is 10, that means 37 days you are taking to convert your you can say your inventory into finished goods, right? So what analysis that we can make, we'll try and understand that. Let's say if our inventory turnover ratio goes to 8, okay, we'll start with 10, 8 and 12. We'll make three analysis over here. If it is 10, what is the result that we get? 37, right? So 37 days it takes. This are days, this are times, right? If it is 10 times, it takes 37 days. If it is 8 times, it takes 46 days. So as the ratio goes down, it means the number of days to convert is going up. And as we move to 12, it moves down to 30 days. So your inventory turnover ratio, or the days in payable is reducing if your inventory turnover ratio goes up. So higher the inventory turnover ratio, lower is going to be the days in the inventory formula. So let's make some analysis over here. Inventory turnover ratio and days in payable. Days in inventory turnover ratio. So what do we see? We see that if your inventory turnover ratio is higher, your days in inventory is going to be lower. And if your inventory turnover ratio is lower, then your days in inventory is going to be higher. So what we can see, there is an inverse relationship between the inventory turnover ratio and the days in inventory, right? And this case is good. The higher inventory turnover ratio means that there are lower number of days in which the inventory is staying in the company or the firm. So this is a good situation, and this is a bad situation. So always a company or a firm should strive for this particular case, and every company always goes for this. Why not? Why someone wants their inventory to be tied up? And remember one thing, if there are some obsolete inventory, which let's say due to the change in the fashion or the taste in the market, then absolutely this case is going to come. In that scenario, quick decisions are going to help you. Thank you everyone.